Okay guys, so we've got the Blacksmith's Forge. This is a cracking little building. You can see that there's 4 sheets on here. You've got 2 of this first sheet here with some walls and bits and pieces on it. Then you've got a unique sheet here and a unique sheet here to make this particular building. Like I say, it's a cracking building, and as always we're going to leave roofs to the end, and we're going to start from the ground up with the ground floor walls. So I'm going to pop out all the ground floory kind of parts of the structure. Okay, so here's the lower ground walls that we're going to clip together. There's some crazy tooling around these windows here. Lots of little tiny little bits we had to push out. Luckily I did it with my wickedly freaky fingernails. However, you probably a pencil or something to push those out. And I've just put mine. In my little bits box over there. But actually, it occurred to me that all these little tiny bits, specifically on this, look like tiny bits of coal. So if you've got some patience and you wanted to put some glue and just keep sprinkling those on, you could probably make a really cool looking little pile of coal, which would be pretty cool for blacksmiths. But yeah, that's beside the point. We've got a ground floor and we want to assemble it. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to start with these walls here, and remember we've got some beams on here, so these are ends. We're going to do 2 ends, and then we're going to do a front and a back door here. Okay, so we'll do that first, and for this I'm going to need some T-clips. I nearly forgot my own rules as well. Don't forget that you need to put the clips always on a beam wall first and push it completely home both sides before connecting any other walls to it. So there's that, and that's done. It looks pretty cool. The next thing we're going to do is we've got 2 identical walls here. So we're going to swap those around. So we've got the outside textures here. And then we've got this little double door which is going to go on the end. And so they are just going to slot onto here, and then I'm going to use 2 L clips to join them all together. Okay, so that's that side done, and finally it's exactly the same process with these 3 walls here, again using some L clips. And there you go, there is your ground floor. Now before we move on any further, we have got a nice little furnace here which has got an external chimney that I want to connect onto here first. And also there's actually a little storage bin that can fit on here as well. And you can see the storage bin in our dedicated scatter terrain video, so that you can know how to put that together. But for the base build, the chimney is a little bit different for this one. There's only another one similar to it on our thatched cottage. So I'm going to show you how to put that together now. I'm going to grab the chimney. Okay, so here is the chimney, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this chimney part round first. There you go. Once that's done, you'll see there's a half cut here and a half cut there, and I can do this and I can do this, and what happens is when you bend that round, this will get trapped underneath this chimney and it will just look like a straight continuation, as it were. That then leaves you with this part here that you're going to need to slot into here and across the top. So a couple of ways to do it. You can slot it in the bottom first and then edge it over the top, or these slots look wide enough that I can probably put this in first and edge it round. Let's see what happens. Yep, I think I just about managed that. There's this little bit that goes on the top, but we're going to put that on last of all. And what you'll notice is there's like a long slit that runs, a slot so either side, that runs all the way down, and that's basically you're going to get your wall straight down into there. And on this side here you've got 2 slots which are normally used for various types of furniture. In this case our chimney is going to slot into there. like so. And once you've slotted that in, you'll notice that this is flush here, but on the inside the furnace actually steps up a little bit into the room, so it looks like your furnace is floating a little bit. Once you've got the floor in, that will be flush with your floor. It's designed to do that so it doesn't get in the way of the floor. Lastly, you've got this little piece here, which you're going to just kind of rest on here. And you could do it like that, and that becomes kind of like the little sort of cover that you can lift up or whatever. You can glue that into place, or you can leave it so that you can have it up or down or whatever. Okay, so that's that, and that's kind of the base of the lower ground floor. As always, we're not going to put any floors in. Floors really don't go in until you're gaming. You kind of put your building in place when you're happy where it is, and then you put your floors in. So as far as the ground floor is concerned, this is done, which is really, really cool. So next thing is we're going to build this central piece here, your living quarters if you like. So we're going to grab the walls and the floor for that. So there you go, there are your walls for your upper floor, a couple of blanks, a couple of window walls, floor and your apex. I popped these windows open. When I was building this, I kept these windows closed and the doors closed because I wanted this chimney to go in and it covers this window. But actually you've got like a little iron bar window there, so you can open all of this now if you wanted to, quite happily, like so. Okay. Okay, so just like all of our other houses really, this is the same as the townhouse and everything else. It's just a case of slotting these walls together and then slotting it onto the floor and then putting the apex on. So I'm going to do that now using some L-clips. There you go. That's this part here done. The keen eyes of you might have noticed in the speeded up bit there is I just swapped this round at the end because I put two windows next to each other, two window walls next to each other. I actually want a window at the front and a window at the back. It looks better, but also I have got some little bits that are going to come up against this wall here. So if I grab my base here, I can now quite happily sit this on here like so. And that is really, really good. And you'll notice here that you can kind of position this one way or the other. Okay, and basically, so if you're putting a roof on one side, oh, it doesn't fit as a bit, it's probably just got it in that wrong slot. So you can just move it this way. This gives you the flexibility to make different types of builds. And you're like, well, actually on this side, I don't want this here, but I'm going to build this thing over here. It allows you to move that and be able to fit certain size floors and walls on next to it, as it were. Okay, so anyway, so there's the top part of that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to build up the final parts of the main structure, which would be the roofs. Okay, and there's a little bit here, and a roof. So we're going to put the roofs together. Always do the roofs last. So here we go. So when popping this out, I notice I've got a couple of slots on here which are just a little bit too tight, which means I'll probably bend something when I'm trying to put it in. So I'm just using my side snippers to kind of, widen that slot a little bit. Just a tiny bit comes out and it just widens it just enough to be able to pop that in. So I've just done that very quickly. You can use a hobby knife or whatever. Okay, so this is everything you need for your roofs. This has actually got 3 roofs on it. You've got your large main roof, that's for the central living quarters part. You've then got this smaller roof, two small roofs. This one's very small, this one's just not so small. I guess those are the labels. And this one's got a little cutout on it, and that'll tell you that that one is going to go over the chimney, as it were. And that one that goes over the chimney is also the one that uses this and this little apex and this clip. Okay, and you've got your little roof bars that go, which are the right length to fit the particular roof that it goes on. So that's nice and simple. We've also got these clips, and now these clips all look very similar. But you'll notice from the icon, the black icon in there, that we've got some which have got a pitch triangle like this, and some that are very narrower. And the much shallower, sort of more squashed ones are for these outside roofs, because they don't need such a big kind of apex pitch to them, as it were. So we will, let me just have a look. Yeah, so we would save those for the outside roofs, as it were. Okay, nice and simple. First of all, let's deal with the main roof. As always, make sure you've watched our Essential Quick Start Guide. I'm going to bend these through very, very carefully, and I'm not really going to give them much of a bend at all. So first of all, I've got my main roof, so I'm going to just pop that on here and try that. And actually, I think, looking at this, I've already got that about right. Maybe a tiny little bit of extra bend on here, but otherwise I'm really happy with the curve of that roof. So I'll pop that to one side. Next, we are going to have a look at the roof that just sits across this part here. Same process again, and I'm going to bend through very carefully. Okay, so this is the one with a cutout for the chimney, and I've made sure that I've got this little point facing outwards, because that's the end of the building. This is going to butt up against the first floor, and then when you pop this apex on, make sure you push this clip fully home first, so that when you pop this onto the floor, it kind of, you know, covers the end, and that'll be the perfect fit for that. And then if we pop that over here, you can see that this fits on very nicely on the top of here, and this fits on very nicely over the top, held in place by the apex. And that means that when you put this on here, it's kind of going to the left hand, or the right hand as you're looking at it, little slot. It won't go any further anyway, so you know, that will sit quite comfortably there, which is why on this side we have got this shorter roof. So I'm just going to pop that to one side very quickly, and I'm going to put this final roof together. Okay, and you'll see here that this last little roof, if I put it round this way, because I've got the lip coming out that way, you can just pop that on there, and it just sits on the end there very, very nicely. Now, because this is one of those, this end one here over this little pagoda-y bit is a roof that doesn't have an apex underneath it, if you don't want it to slide about so much, we have got on these sheets somewhere the little, if I can find them, here they are, roof supports. There's two here, so I'm going to pop those off. And you can measure up with this part here, and pop these just on here with a little bit of glue. It means that when you pop it in, you won't get like lateral movement. You might not be bothered about it, and in fact, you know, depending on how you're building your house, you might take this off completely and not have anything on here, just have your access to your little storage kit, and it'll be a shorter house. It depends entirely how you want to do it, but those are there as an option if that's something that would bother you. So I'll move that over to one side. So what have we got left? Well, of course, we've got the floor tiles. Only 2 floor tiles for this one, because the pagoda part is an external bit, so you've got a long and a small for each room. They can slot in underneath. We have also got your little storage, external storage, which is in the dedicated scatter video, along with a ladder. That'll show you how to do that. We've got a barrel as well, and we've got another barrel over here, which is really, really cool. And we've actually got, I just noticed, got some more roof supports there, so you can support that roof even more if you want to. Lots of little bits of stone and scatter and bits and pieces like that. We've got these little hammers and little shields the blacksmith could be making, labelled as scatter. And there's a couple of sets of those, so that's pretty good. And there's some more stepping stone bits over here. What we have, and there's a little chair here as well, which is cool. All of which is in the dedicated scatter video. What we have got on here, which is not in any other set, is the blacksmith's specific furniture. It's not difficult to put together, but it's nowhere else. So I'll show you how to do that now. Okay, so basically you've got your workbench and you've got your little grinder here, and you know, some of these parts look pretty similar, so they are all labelled, but if looking at this, workbench, grinder. Okay, so grinder first of all is just a case of slotting it together really. And that's your grinder there, and you could take one of these little grinding, you know, it could be doing his little grinding his blades on there or whatever. That's a sword without a hilt or anything yet, a little shield and a, you know, workbenchy stuff. Then you've got this little workbench here, and this really just slots together pretty simply, I think. Yep, so that goes in there like so, and don't push these in too far, because what you want to do is you want to be able to slot these actually into the side of your house, into your blacksmith. So I'm just going to move these bits out of the way for a second. I'm going to bring back over my blacksmiths and remove the roofs and the top level. And just the same as you've got your furnace here, you've then got a couple of slots that you can put here, and it means this workbench can go in here and it will stay in there when and if you're kind of moving it about. Put that in there like that. And once you've got that in, again, you want to push this up a little bit further until it can't go anymore. And that will create a very small gap and look like your workbench is floating, just like your furnace. But once you've got your floor in there, which would, the smaller one, which would pop in here, that means that it will keep it all level, as it were. Okay, so there you go. That is your scatter that is dedicated specifically for your blacksmith. And that, in essence, is your fantastic blacksmiths.